Yeah.
But if you don't get anybody on the beach that day, and you just straight sustain those sheer numbers, the morale that would have had, the impact on morale that would have had for Allied troops would have been astronomical. And it probably would have pushed the invasion, 6 months to like have to refit after that?
Oh, I would imagine they would have had to rebuild and then come back from a totally different position. They would have had, I mean, obviously, because then they would have refortified, gone through, looked at the entire western coastline, continued to reinforce, and then you would have had to gone somewhere completely different. Yeah. Unbelievable the amount of stress that those guys must have felt. I mean, not only the guys on the ground, thinking about it from the landing craft, well, I mean, just the Navy ships that were pummeling the fucking coastline with for hours, trying to soften that thing up. And the actual perspective was they didn't quite understand the level of fortification. So they were thinking, just like they did in Iwo Jima, that there's no way somebody could survive after the pummeling that they would receive on the coastline. But they didn't realize that they were 3 stories deep in a bunker ready to support against the Allied invasion.
Right.
If you could pick any position that day, what would it be?
I know what it wouldn't be, which would
probably be first wave, first ramp dropping.
No, like the glider. Like,
oh my gosh,
I just
that glider?
wouldn't have wanted to been in a glider.
No.
And my grandma was a riveteer.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, the factory in my hometown was a Frigidaire factory, and it got converted to a glider factory for World War II. And so my grandma was sitting there doing rivets at 17 years old for the war effort. And then last year when we came to Normandy, like you get to walk through one of the gliders, which is like 4 feet wide of soft skin. And then Rommel went through in like every open field that a glider could potentially land in. He put in even spacing like giant telephone poles. So there wasn't any good landing areas for these gliders either.
And they were trying to put it down anywhere, so then they'd have to essentially just get over something and then drive it into the ground. Even the hedgerows. That was the other thing with the hedgerows.
Not traditionally a solid landing technique.
No, the gliders would have been absolutely a death trap. Because you had shit in the back too. You had like Jeeps and all kinds of stuff. Like, so you hit the ground, that thing is like flying towards you if it wasn't strapped in right.
Yeah.
Hey, just the amount of sheer logistics and planning, coordination, effort, and the holes, because you've never done anything like this. Like, the world has never done anything up to this point like this. This is the largest invasion ever participated in history, the history of warfare. So nobody's ever done a coordinated effort like this. So you don't know all the holes in your game until after. So there's a percentage of accountability, or there's a percentage that this is just air. We didn't account for it. We didn't see it in the planning phase. Right. We just have to bump these numbers up to understand what that is.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. So if you haven't already picked up on this from the show perspective, we're down here in Palaca, Florida. We're preparing for jump into Normandy to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. So we've been able to team up with a group of veterans